In the middle of the night, the most powerful madam in the capital, who also happens to be my mother-in-law, suddenly posted a short video on her WeChat Moments, causing an absolute uproar in high society. The caption was a massive flex, reeking of a show-off. So what if he's a billionaire CEO in the business world? At home, he still has to put on a Hello Kitty apron and scrub his wife's nightgown. Less than an hour later, an 18th-tier actress desperate for clout suddenly posted a photo of a positive pregnancy test with 2 stark red lines on Weibo. She clapped back with a vague caption radiating pure green tea energy, "Washing a nightgown is nothing. You just haven't seen the time he took it off with his own hands." The entire internet stayed awake that night, eagerly sniffing out the drama. Everyone praised her as the entertainment industry's most reckless daredevil for having the guts to publicly pluck the whiskers of the Gu family's tiger. When the drama erupted, I was still curled up in my cozy, soft blanket, leisurely scrolling through my phone. Suddenly, a blazing red trending topic jumped onto my screen, accompanied by a massive explosive tag. Crown Prince Gu Chen, Hello Kitty apron, washing wife's nightgown. I furrowed my brows and unconsciously tapped on it. Dominating the screen was the sneak shot from WeChat Moments, which was now spreading to every corner of social media at rocket speed. In the photo, the usually arrogant, abstinent big boss had his dress shirt sleeves rolled up, working hard in the bathroom. Draped over him was a neon pink Hello Kitty apron as he meticulously scrubbed the hem of my silk nightgown. The avatar and poster's name were blurred out, but anyone who had mingled in the ultra-rich circle long enough could close their eyes and recognize that it was his biological mother's account. Originally, this photo was only meant to circulate internally among the noble ladies. But who knows which good sister accidentally took a screenshot and leaked it to the paparazzi, throwing the entire internet into chaos tonight. And right in the middle of these muddy waters, the 18th-tier actress named Xia Meng aggressively dropped a photo of a pregnancy test, adding a highly provocative comment right under the trending topic. Washing a nightgown is nothing? You all haven't even seen the time he tenderly fed me cherries, one by one. Netizens were like a lit fuse, instantly exploding like a flare. The crowd was hyped to the extreme, hailing her as the dragon slayer of the entertainment circle who dared to directly declare war on the Gu family's madam for true love. Wait a minute. Xia Meng is pregnant? So doesn't that mean someone else's mother-in-law suddenly became her mother-in-law in waiting? Could it be? I whipped my head around, my eyes glaring daggers at the man sleeping soundly beside me. The corners of his mouth still carried a silly smile as he muttered in his sleep, "Baby, come here, let me give you a hug." Could this guy really have the audacity to put a pair of horns on my head? Reason screamed at me not to believe it, but that pregnancy test was like a thorn in my eye. Opening Weibo again, I was slapped in the face by a series of hot searches dominating the charts. Gu Chen, Xia Meng's secret affair. Xia Meng slaps capitalism in the face. Xia Meng official pregnancy announcement. Scrolling down the comment section, what burned my retinas were Xia Meng's ambiguous, flirtatious exchanges with the netizens. Comment 1, excited sisters going all in. Dropping the pregnancy test to claim sovereignty. Haha. Xia Meng, only brave women deserve to step into a wealthy family. Comment 2, suspicious, is this tea real or fake? Don't tell me it's another PR script to trick people. Green tea. Xia Meng instantly replied, of course it's 100% genuine goods. Netizen 3, curious, wait, OP, is the baby really Gu Chen's, the capital's notorious crown prince? Xia Meng coyly typed, haha, it's a secret. Saying it out loud would make people blush. Thanks to Xia Meng's ambiguous, scheming tone, the keywords erupted like a volcano. Public opinion instantly made a U-turn, aggressively calling out Gu Chen's name, forcing him to step up and give her and the child a proper status. The problem was, he was a demon who summoned the wind and rain in the business world, not an idol. Who even knew his personal account? Therefore, the mob flooded Xia Meng's page to dig for details. Her answer pushed her shamelessness to the absolute peak. Everyone keep it down. he worked so hard and is still sleeping very obediently beside me. I slowly turned my head, my gaze sharp as a knife, staring at the male lead who was sleeping incredibly peacefully, his chest rising and falling evenly. Gu Chen. The more I thought about it, the more my blood boiled straight to my brain. Unable to hold back any longer, I threw off the silk blanket, decisively climbed on top of him, and pinched his nose shut with both hands, cutting off his oxygen supply. Suffocating, this culprit frowned, rubbing his chin against my hand, and mumbled, "MMPH, don't mess around, be good, let me sleep in for 5 more minutes." My naughty little ancestor. My anger flared up like a blazing inferno. I immediately bent down and bit his chin hard. Ah! Gu Chen jolted awake from the pain. He sprang up and looked at me, his voice carrying a sexy, hoarse morning tone. "What's wrong, baby? Who has the guts to anger my queen?" Still not fully awake, his chiseled face carried a bewildered look. My teeth marks were imprinted on his chin, and a few strands of hair fell messily over his forehead, making him look both lazy and lethally attractive. But unfortunately, I was in no damn mood to appreciate his beauty right now. I threw the phone right at his chest. "Gu Chen, get your ass to the sofa and kneel out of my sight right now." Gu Chen's heart skipped a beat, his last bit of sleepiness vanishing without a trace. He hurriedly grabbed the phone to look. Just 3 seconds later, a miserable howl rang out in the bedroom like he had seen a ghost in broad daylight. What the hell is this cursed logic? Xia Meng? That D-list actress who's always scheming to steal your resources? I crossed my arms over my chest, keeping my lips tightly sealed, my eye sockets starting to turn red from grievance. The usually arrogant and imposing crown prince immediately made a thud, sliding straight from the soft bed and kneeling perfectly straight on the red carpet on the floor. He looked up at me with sparkling puppy dog eyes, his voice echoing with sky-high injustice. "Baby, I'm so wronged. I swear to heaven and earth that I don't know her at all. I haven't even touched half a hair on this woman's body." I snapped, "She's calling your name clear as day. She even got a swollen belly from you, and she's running her mouth saying you're sleeping next to her. Did she use Bluetooth to get pregnant or what?" Gu Chen frantically waved his hands in a panic. "Wifey, what the hell are you saying? This is slander. This is a blatant insult to my looks and my character. I'll have my legal team sue her until she's bankrupt." But wait, even if she really is pregnant, what the hell does it have to do with me? Wifey, are you bored of me and secretly keeping a new boyfriend, so you're finding an excuse to dump me? I glared at him, utterly speechless. You thick-skinned bastard, you don't know how to wipe your mouth after stealing a bite, and you dare to play the victim? Pinning the blame on me? But after scolding him, I suddenly paused for a beat. Wait a minute. This guy has always been a clingy tail sticking to me like a leech. If he was really cheating, how could his mother, who has an insanely strict and critical eye for people, be so extremely satisfied with me? Why would she suddenly get the urge to post and show off her daughter-in-law to the world? There really must be some hidden details to this. While I was still frowning in thought, he had already started whining his familiar tune. That's right, you really are secretly keeping some pretty boy outside. You heartless, ungrateful woman, I'm going to tell your parents. We're about to get married, and you dare to put horns on me and hire someone to throw dirty water on my innocence. Boo-hoo. Looking at his rogue appearance, just like a kindergarten child, I pursed my lips and barked, "Stop crying. Put those crocodile tears away right now." Shut up. Gu Chen shrank his neck, pouted, and felt incredibly wronged. You're mentally abusing me again. Just as I narrowed my eyes, secretly calculating how to clean up this mess to vent my anger, I saw him with his head down, his long fingers typing furiously on the phone screen. I was stunned. Before I could even figure out what this guy was messing with, the rice was already cooked. It was too late for regrets. Gu Chen, the dignified supreme chairman of the Gu Empire, had just borrowed my official Weibo account to share Xia Meng's post, accompanied by a caption as sharp as a razor. Are you running on 5G? Are you a public Wi-Fi hotspot, trying to connect for clout everywhere you go? Claiming someone else's husband, if we used your thick skin to cast a bulletproof shield, it probably wouldn't even pierce through, right? Wait a minute. In just the blink of an eye, did he just personally pierce a hole in the sky? I snatched the phone away and glared at him. Hey, you. If you wanted to curse her out, why didn't you create or use your own account? What the hell are you doing using mine? Are you trying to get my career blacklisted? Realizing he had just ignited a powder keg, Gu Chen blinked and obediently pressed his lips together. Didn't baby issue an imperial decree forbidding me from using Weibo? I was left speechless as memories came rushing back. It was true, on my very first day stepping into the entertainment industry, I had established a 3 obediences and 4 virtues rulebook, forcing him to swear a deadly oath to follow it. First, absolutely no going public with our relationship. Second, no using his capitalist power to pave the way for me. Third, strictly forbidden from posting anything related to me on social media. If his hands were too itchy, he had to set it to only me to admire in private. In exchange, I agreed to join his entertainment company. The manager and crew were all personally selected by him, but absolutely no one in the company knew what their boss's wife looked like. Thus, for the past few years, no one in the industry knew that the insignificant Song Xin was actually the genuine, bona fide future madam of the Gu family. But I only forbade him from posting. I never forbade him from downloading the app. Who could have foreseen that, out of fear of accidentally showing off his wife and breaking the rules, he would decisively delete the entire Weibo app from his own phone. But right now, Gu Chen's masterpiece of a lifetime had completely blown up my personal page. Xiaomeng's fans flooded in like a broken beehive, viciously attacking me. Who is that despicable Song Xian accusing of clout chasing? This rabid dog is just green with envy seeing our sister Xia about to marry into a wealthy family. So disgusting. No one even touched her, yet she crawls out to claim the drama for herself. Can't you breathe without clinging to Xiaomeng? Truly eternal trash. These keyboard insults meant nothing to me. Having rolled around in showbiz all these years, I had cultivated an indestructible diamond body. But right at that moment, Xiaomeng took advantage of the wind to launch a fatal blow. She personally used her official account to drop a comment reeking of pity right under my post. Having no real talent and wanting to chase some clout to salvage your faded glory. I can completely sympathize. It's okay, I will generously overlook your jealousy. One sentence directly tore apart the veil of fake peace, slapping me right in the face in broad daylight. In the entertainment circle, the biggest taboo is for the involved parties to tear into each other directly, because it affects the rice bowls of countless investors behind the scenes. Historically, no matter how much people hated each other, they would only throw subtle shade. Xiaomeng's direct provocation was clearly an attempt to borrow the netizens' hands to drive me to my death. No matter how I reacted, in the public's eyes right now, I was just a desperate, rabid dog. Sure enough, less than a minute later, my phone rang incessantly like the Grim Reaper collecting a debt. Manager Wang called, her voice screeching like she was about to have a heart attack. Song Xian, what kind of crazy fit are you having? Why the hell did you share Xiaomeng's post? Do you know the fragile, indifferent to fame White Lotus image the company worked so hard to build for you is about to burst into bubbles? With the breach of contract penalty, do you think selling your body could even cover it? Of course, I remembered perfectly. For 3 long years, I had to swallow my pride, hide my true nature, and live under the fake label of a pure jade girl just so the company could secure resources. But wait. I cast my eyes down at the man who was still kneeling immaculately on the carpet, his face full of remorse as he desperately tried to flatter me. Manager Wang seemed completely unaware that the person holding 100% of the shares in Starlight Entertainment, the powerful big boss I had signed with, was none other than this very guy humbly blinking and begging for forgiveness right in front of me, wasn't it? Making me pay compensation was no different from digging money out of his left pocket and putting it into his right. I leisurely pressed the phone to my ear, my tone lazy. Manager Wang, please do the meticulous math for me. How much exactly is the compensation fee right now? The other end took a sharp breath, seemingly choked by my nonchalant attitude. Song Xin, the damages are no joke. It's up to 8 zeros. Where are you going to dig up a gold mine to pay it? I calmly replied, just tell the accounting department to draw up a detailed invoice. I naturally have someone to shoulder the burden. After some back and forth, Manager Wang still didn't believe a lowly actress like me could dig up such a massive sum, so she reluctantly promised to discuss it further with the board of directors. Feeling sleepy in the dead of night, I was too lazy to argue further. I decisively tossed back, think whatever you want, and hung up. The culprit causing the trouble, hearing my intention to withdraw from Starlight, was as overjoyed as if he'd struck gold, giggling like a fool. Haha, baby is finally willing to retire early. Awesome. Starting tomorrow, we can openly hold hands, stroll the streets, and be in love. He had always been repulsed by my involvement in this scandal-ridden profession. Back then, I had to beg until my tongue nearly broke, pleading to work for just another half a year before he reluctantly nodded. Who would have thought this slip of the tongue would play right into his hands? The next afternoon, just as expected, Manager Wang announced that the company agreed to grant me amnesty, a final chance to compromise, on the condition that I participate in a reality TV show. Since my reputation was already in tatters and I supposedly had no money, they wanted to squeeze out the last bit of drama value I had. But in truth, this was a God-given opportunity for me to slap their faces. Because sitting prominently on the guest list, surprisingly, was the name Xia Meng. On the morning of departure for filming, Gu Qin, wearing a wrinkled set of pajamas, clung onto my waist for dear life, refusing to let go. Baby, do you really have to go to that middle-of-nowhere place to film with that scheming Xia Meng? What if she plays tricks and gangs up with the crowd to bully you? How about I just pick up the phone, call the organizers, and throw money to cancel this troublesome show so it's out of sight? Feeling helpless, I patted the head that was desperately rubbing against me to act cute, answering with amusement, be good. Let me go toy with her for a bit, to see just what level her wealthy heiress act has reached. Being cursed at and sacrificed alive on the internet for days without personally slapping them back is absolutely not my, Song Xian's, style of living. I narrowed my eyes, the corners of my lips curling into a highly dangerous smile. Besides, I'm also curious to see where exactly Xia Meng got a Gu Qin pregnancy to flaunt to the world. Did you really cheat on me via a wireless connection? Hearing this, Gu Qin instantly shot up straight, raising 3 fingers to the sky to swear a deadly oath, his spine as stiff as a board. Wifey, I am purer than distilled water. If I have even half a point of entanglement with any other female, I am willing to transfer all of Gu Corporation's shares to your name and voluntarily go pick up trash at the intersection. Alright, keep your pile of shares. I burst out laughing, pushing away the handsome face pressed so close to mine. Grabbing my suitcase, I walked to the door. Keep the 3 obediences and 4 virtues rules etched in your heart. Forbidden from getting itchy hands and going online to cause chaos and ruin my plans. Do you hear me clearly? Gu Qin obediently nodded profusely. However, the glittering, cunning gaze typical of the cold-blooded billionaire was silently calculating some scheme that I couldn't quite catch in time. The reality show the company threw me into was called Journey of Healing, an immensely popular leaving the city for the countryside show combining live broadcasting and pre-recorded segments. Aside from Xia Meng and me, the guests included the cold-faced best actor Qin Mo, the popular starlet Zhou Xing, and a fresh-faced rising male idol named Qin Shi. Just glancing at this list, I saw right through Starlight's vicious scheming. This lineup was deployed far too perfectly to drive me into a corner. Xia Meng was currently the media's darling thanks to her future Gu family daughter-in-law label, so she would definitely be hoisted to the clouds by the production team and other guests. As for me, in the current eyes of the audience, I was just a bitter, jealous hag trying to ride on someone else's coattails. The organizers' van dropped us off at a quaint, ancient water town heavily imbued with Jiangnan aesthetics, nestled quietly along the river. The moment the live stream camera indicator light turned on, millions of viewers flooded the platform like a flash flood. The comment section scrolled so fast it was dizzying, and 90% of them were hurling vicious insults at me. The second I stepped off the van, I saw Xia Meng being gingerly supported by her assistant like an empress dowager. She wore oversized sunglasses that hid half her face and was dressed in a flowy, designer silk dress, her hand constantly rubbing her still flat stomach. The moment she saw me, she immediately smirked, deliberately raising her pitch just enough to be picked up by the microphone. "Oh my, Song Xian is here? I heard rumors that your company has been really strict these past few days, demanding breach of contract compensation. I originally intended to open my golden mouth and put in a good word for you, but he stopped me. He said pregnant women have precious bodies and shouldn't worry about the meddlesome affairs of outsiders." It sounded like gentle concern, but anyone could smell the gunpowder and stepping on others' undertone in it. The live chat instantly exploded. "Oh my god, he is Gu Qin, right? Xia Meng radiates the exact aura of a powerful family's madam. Song Xian's bitter face looks so pathetic." I calmly took off my sunglasses, raised an eyebrow, and stared dead at her. "When did the company demand compensation? How come I, the person involved, know nothing about it? Xia Meng, is there a problem with your ears lately, or are your neurons experiencing a network delay? I almost forgot you suffer from terminal stage delusions of grandeur. I have deep sympathy for patients like you." Mocked, Xia Meng immediately squeezed out a few crocodile tears, playing the fragile and weak card. "Song Xian, I understand you're jealous because I'm carrying the eldest young master's flesh and blood, but aren't you afraid that such vicious words will shorten your lifespan? After all, when this child is born, they will be the future heir of a prestigious and powerful conglomerate." I burst out laughing, a smile laced with sky-high sarcasm. "Xia Meng, did you check the baby's father carefully? You didn't pass on the lineage via a public Wi-Fi hotspot, or get tricked into bed by some random poser pretending to be rich, did you?" Having rolled around in showbiz for years, Xia Meng was no fool. She knew that if I didn't hold the upper hand, I wouldn't be so confidently provoking her. A flash of panic crossed her eyes. But when she looked down at an incoming message on her phone, she smiled smugly and quickly regained her arrogant, domineering demeanor. "Song Xian, stop playing the sour grapes card. If he wasn't tied up with high-level corporate meetings, he would have driven here personally to slap your mouth shut so you'd stop creating bad karma." I strode forward. My 1.70 m height, combined with an oppressive aura cultivated since birth, made Xia Meng unconsciously take a step back. "Xia Meng, you're in too deep with this wealthy madam roleplay. Be careful, when you wake up, you might not even have a place to cry." The entire set suddenly fell as silent as a grave. The director standing behind the camera wiped off cold sweat, never expecting me to be so bold as to curse her out to her face, tearing up the script without leaving a shred of dignity. Meanwhile, the live stream chat started to show a sprinkling of contrasting opinions. Some sharp-eyed viewers caught a whiff of something unusual. "Hey wait. Song Xian makes sense. A dignified billionaire, why would he let his pregnant fiancée trudge all the way out here to torture herself on a reality show?" Smelling the gunpowder in the air, Chen Shi, the male idol standing nearby, hurriedly jumped out to play peacemaker, acting chivalrous as he supported Xia Meng's arm. "Sister Xian, hold your tongue. Sister Meng is pregnant after all, her body is fragile. If something happens to the baby, you couldn't afford the responsibility even if you sold your house." I gave Qin-Shi a sidelong glance, coldly dropping a sentence, "I don't have a hobby of shouldering other people's messes. If you want to play a blind knight protecting a fake princess, be my guest." When it came to room assignments, the director had just opened his mouth to introduce the ultra-spacious master bedroom located in the center of the water town, featuring a balcony with a panoramic river view, sunlit windows, and top-tier amenities. Before he could finish, Xia Meng immediately dragged her suitcase forward to intercept. She smiled apologetically and looked around. "I'm so sorry, seniors and everyone, this is so embarrassing. I've been having terrible morning sickness lately, and being pregnant makes me toss and turn at night. Could I boldly ask to take that spacious room for some better ventilation?" The moment the words left her mouth, not a single guest dared to object. Even if not explicitly stated, everyone tacitly understood her online implications. Xia Meng was holding the death exemption plaque, the flesh and blood of the Gu family, backed by massive capital. Who would be foolish enough to pluck the tiger's whiskers right now? She immediately jumped at the chance, smiling radiantly. "Sister Meng, please make yourself at home. It's only natural for a pregnant woman to enjoy privileges. Let me carry your suitcase to the room for you." The live chat took the opportunity to gloat and poke at me again. "Haha, Song Xan is completely isolated, beautiful. That rabid dog deserves it. Shi is such a good boy, worthy of being a son-in-law. Who told Song Xan she could cross a wealthy family's madam? Look at that emotionless face, she must be seething inside but can't do a thing." Eventually, I was shoved into the tiniest, darkest room located at the very end of a stone alley. But the truth was, I absolutely enjoyed this arrangement. The room was tiny but incredibly quiet. The wooden window looked straight out at a babbling brook, completely isolating me from the noise of the cameras and Xia Meng's eyesore fakeness. On the contrary, Xia Meng stood on her balcony, highly annoyed and disappointed when she couldn't detect a single trace of discomfort or jealousy on my face. As evening approached, the production crew began handing out ingredients, assigning the guests to go to the riverbank to wash lotus roots in preparation for afternoon tea. In the middle of the sun-drenched pier, Xia Meng leisurely pulled up a lounge chair, crossed her legs under a willow tree, and fanned herself with a woven palm fan. She raised an eyebrow at the mud-covered basket of lotus roots, then softly called out to where I was standing. Xan, could you conveniently help me wash these lotus roots? The morning sickness has been torturing me lately. If I just bend down a little, my back aches and my head spins." Before I could even open my mouth to clap back, the moral brigade in the live chat was already scrambling onto their soapboxes. "She's pregnant, helping her out won't kill you. Song Xan, don't be so petty and narrow-minded. Are you blind? Can't you see Xia Meng is tired? Humph, clout chasers naturally have trash personalities." Seeing this, I quietly picked up the basket of lotus roots and turned to walk to the water's edge. However, less than 5 minutes later, a soft, pain-filled cry rang out from behind me. "Ah!" I whipped my head around to see Xia Meng doubled over, her hands clutching her stomach, her face acting as pale as a sheet of paper. She bit her lip tightly and whispered to the camera pointed at her face, "Sorry everyone, I must have walked too much earlier, the baby is fussing." Pregnant for less than 2 months and the baby is kicking? Is the fetus practicing Shaolin martial arts in the womb or what? Shi, who was chopping wood nearby, immediately threw away his axe and rushed over to support her. Even Mo, the best actor famous for his cold, stony face, frowned, his eyes sweeping over me with a hint of dissatisfaction. The wind of public opinion shifted at the speed of light on the live stream. Oh my god, Song Xan overworked a pregnant woman until she had a scare. Don't tell me she deliberately stalled washing the lotus roots to torture Xia Meng. Truly the heart of a venomous snake. Hurry and call an ambulance. If anything happens to CEO Gu's flesh and blood, Song Xan paying with her life won't be enough. I leisurely flicked the water off my hands, slowly looking up to admire the sight of the woman lounging in Shi's arms. From an angle the camera couldn't catch, my sharp eyes caught the corner of Xia Meng's lips twitching into a smug smile at the success of her bitter meat victim act. She held Xia Meng, looking utterly tense. "Sister Meng, are you okay?" Do we need to call the on-call doctor? Xia Meng leaned her head on his shoulder, her face pale and weak. I'm fine, the baby must just be too sensitive. These past few days, social media pressure has surrounded me, and I've been maliciously framed by someone. I've been losing sleep too. Saying this, she briefly raised her eyes to glance at me, then immediately lowered her head as if trying to swallow her grievances back down. The chat instantly exploded with indignation. What does this mean? Isn't she digging at Song Xan? Oh my god, a pregnant woman is being openly bullied like this? Song Xan, get on your knees and kowtow in apology right now. Even the director was sweating as he ran over. Miss Xia, if you're not feeling well, the production crew will immediately dispatch a car to take you to a higher-level hospital. Xia Meng shook her head weakly. I don't want to trouble you, director. I don't want to delay everyone's filming schedule. Besides, if he finds out I had a scare, he'd probably drop all his work and fly over here to scold me. After saying that, she looked down and opened her phone, the corners of her lips curling up slightly. Right at that moment, her phone screen lit up, and a new message popped up. The things I sent have arrived. Be a good girl and endure it for a bit. The sender's name wasn't saved, and the avatar was a minimalist black background, but that one sentence reeking of domineering dotage was enough to make Xia Meng's complexion turn rosy again. She gripped her phone tightly, a flash of triumph passing through her eyes, then looked up at me, deliberately raising her voice. I'm sorry, everyone. My family must be making a mountain out of a molehill again. I told him I didn't need it, but he insisted on sending someone over with nutritional tonics. The chat immediately went crazy in a romance novel frenzy. Oh my god, CEO Gu really sent supplies? What is this domineering CEO atmosphere? This is the true treatment of a powerful family's madam. Song Xian, open your eyes wide and admire it. Qinshi also chimed in, flattering her. Sister Meng really is the treasure that CEO Gu holds in the palm of his hand. Xia Meng blushed slightly, coyly stroking her flat stomach. He's always over-worrying like this. Just as her words fell, the roaring sound of an engine tearing through the wind echoed from the entrance of the village. A sleek, jet-black Maybach slowly crawled into the front courtyard. The car doors swung open, and two men dressed in crisp, black suits stepped out, carrying exquisitely carved red sandalwood thermal boxes. The entire courtyard instantly buzzed with excitement. Xia Meng jumped to her feet, her eyes overflowing with ultimate joy and arrogance. She smoothed a lock of hair, flattened her dress, and turned to look at me with a highly provocative smile. Xian, I'm so embarrassed. He was probably afraid that I wouldn't be used to the rough country food and that it would affect the baby, so he forced his people to take a private jet just to deliver food. The live chat seized the opportunity to mock my poverty again. Xia Meng took a deep breath, perfectly adjusting her posture into that of a proper madam, then proactively glided 2 steps forward. Her voice was as sweet as honey. Sorry to trouble you all for traveling such a long distance. But before the word distance could even fully leave her mouth, the leading man strode past her with his long legs like an invisible gust of wind. He didn't even tap the brakes, let alone bother to spare her a single glance. The smile on Xia Meng's face froze solid, as if poured with concrete. The man continued striding straight toward me. At that moment, I was still leisurely sitting on the chair, finishing up washing the lotus roots. An incredibly respectful, deep voice rang out right behind me, Madam, Miss Song. I paused, warning bells instantly ringing in my head. Crap. That guy Guchin definitely couldn't control his hands and broke the rules again because of his itchiness. The man bowed slightly, carefully presenting the royal-looking thermal box in his hands. Sir was worried that you wouldn't be used to the bland food in this water town, so he instructed us to bring some bird's nest soup stewed with chicken. He also repeatedly reminded you that no matter how busy you are with work, you must remember to eat on time, lest your stomach act up. The entire courtyard went as dead silent as a grave. Standing not too far away, Xia Meng's face turned pale bit by bit, looking exactly like a paint palette accidentally splashed with bleach. Her hand gripped her phone so tightly her knuckles turned stark white. Wasn't that message just now sent to her? Then why were these high-class bodyguards bowing down to Song Exayan? Just as the entire courtyard was drowning in suffocation from this hairpin plot twist, the screeching brakes of a motorbike pierced the air from outside the gate. A tech delivery rider wearing a neon yellow uniform jacket, sweating profusely, came barreling into the courtyard with a plastic bag dangling from his hand. As he walked, he grumbled loudly and irritably. "Who is Xia Meng? Come get your food quickly. I called 5 times and my phone almost exploded, but you didn't even bother to pick up." Everyone's heads swiveled in unison to look at Xia Meng, who hadn't even recovered her senses yet. The delivery guy slammed the food down on the stone table, consisting of a few boxes of cheap beef and pickled mustard green fried rice, and a knockoff brand milk tea, his face dark with annoyance. "Next time you order delivery, please pin the location correctly. You made me drive around several hills just to find this homestay." Saying that, he pulled out his phone and swiped. "Total damage is 150 renminbi. Bank transfer, scan the QR code, or cash?" The courtyard was as silent as a cemetery. The live chat froze for 3 seconds before completely exploding into fragments. Xia Meng stood stiff as a board, staring blankly at the name of the person who ordered the food on the receipt, young Master Gu. Meanwhile, right beside me, the bodyguard in the suit was leisurely opening the food box. The smell of piping hot, premium ginseng bird's nest soup slowly wafted out, completely crushing the smell of street-side fried rice rising from the center of the courtyard. Xia Meng clenched her phone tightly, suddenly turning to glare at me, her voice trembling and choked as if she was cornered. "Song Xin, you didn't intentionally throw money to hire actors to humiliate me, did you?" I slowly stood up straight and casually held my phone screen up to the camera lens. The screen was bright, and the food delivery app history was completely empty. I hadn't even downloaded it. I raised an eyebrow, my voice lazy. "Sorry, I'm only used to eating food cooked at home. I don't have the habit of ordering food through an app. Besides, you should worry about paying that 150 renminbi for the guy. The delivery rider is still tapping his foot waiting." The entire production crew simultaneously turned their heads away, pretending to admire the clouds and the wind. The director coughed to hide his awkwardness, the camera assistant lowered his head, and everyone bit their lips tightly, trying so hard not to laugh that their shoulders were shaking. Xia Meng was petrified for a few seconds before recovering her acting skills at the speed of light. She forced a stiff smile, her face twisting as if she'd been stung by a bee. "Ah, my newly hired assistant ordered it for me but forgot to tell me. She is so slow and useless." Saying that, she frantically scanned the code to pay, even pretending to hold her phone to her ear and softly scold someone. "Do your job with some heart next time." "What?" "Ah, he was busy with a shareholders meeting so he asked you to do it?" Hanging up, she smoothed her hair, trying to salvage a pathetic sliver of dignity. "Well, it's fine. He's busy with a million things, it was just a small oversight." But the live chat had long since exploded, and not a single ghost believed those cheap, tattered excuses. I'm dying of laughter. "Where is the wealthy madam? All I see is street food and fake milk tea. She's carrying the Gu family's flesh and blood but is fed 150 renminbi food? Is the eldest young master this stingy?" Xia Meng's face was so stiff that even looking through the screen, I felt second-hand embarrassment for her. After the awkward dinner passed and night gradually fell, everyone gathered under the lanterns on the front porch. The director cleared his throat, smiling meaningfully as he set a trap for the final clickbait challenge of the day. To add some drama and bond our feelings, tonight we will play a game, calling a loved one. Each guest must call the most important person to them and is required to put it on speakerphone. Anyone who refuses will be punished by waking up early to clean the village chief's pigpen tomorrow morning. The moment the director finished speaking, the courtyard buzzed with chatter. The live chat went crazy waiting for the drama. Oh my god, the Lord of Comedy has arrived. This game is brutal, calling the most important person. Xia Meng, call CEO Gu quickly and let us wash our eyes. Song Xin will probably call her manager to discuss the breach of contract penalty, right? Haha. The director chuckled and egged them on. Let's go in order, starting with Chen Shi. The first few calls went quite smoothly, peacefully, and touchingly. Chen Shi called his mother and cried a little. Zhou Xing called her older sister to check in. Qin Amo cold-facedly called his assistant to complain about his schedule and ruthlessly hung up after exactly 15 seconds. When it was Xia Meng's turn, the quiet night air instantly heated up. She tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, glanced at the camera at a 45-degree angle, and smiled shyly. Actually, I think everyone can already guess who the most important person to me right now is. The chat exploded. Call Gu Chen quickly, sister. Feed us that dog food. Xia Meng lowered her eyes, her fingers slowly dialing the number. The toot-toot dialing tone dragged on for about 3 seconds before a male voice rang out from the other end. Hello, baby. It's so late, aren't you filming? Why are you calling me? Xia Meng glanced at the lens, her eyes slightly red as she acted out her longing. Yes. The production crew forced us to call our most important person. I miss you so much, and the baby misses its daddy too. The person on the other end chuckled lightly, intentionally pressing his voice low to sound doting, reeking of a cheap, 3-cent romance novel domineering CEO. Be good, it's been hard on my baby. Once filming is over, I'll personally drive my supercar to pick you up. Remember to take care of your health, don't let our little baby get tired, understand? Xia Meng bit her lip, smiling with shy satisfaction. I know. The live chat had completely transformed into a fanatic party, praising this real-life romance novel love story. However, in stark contrast to the netizens' excitement, the sarcastic smile on my lips grew brighter and more dazzling. The moment the very first sentence was spoken, I instantly caught the scent of who the owner of that forced, overly deep voice was. I truly didn't expect that Xia Meng, who usually beat her chest and claimed to be one of the top schemers in showbiz, would be deceived by that guy to the point of getting knocked up, all while still under the delusion that she was about to carry a pregnant belly through the grand doors of the Gu family. Zhou Xing, sitting nearby, gathered all her courage and asked timidly, her eyes filled with extreme curiosity, Sister Meng, the person you just called, is it the big boss of the Gu Corporation, Mr. Gu Chen? All eyes instantly converged on Xia Meng under the soft yellow light. She pressed her red lips together, her cheeks flushing with a layer of shy pink clouds, and gave a slight nod in silent confession. The atmosphere, which was practically drowning in excitement, was suddenly splashed with a bucket of brain-freezing ice water by me. But I heard a rumor that the person in power at the Gu family is already secretly engaged to the heiress of the Song family, isn't he? One light sentence dropped like an atomic bomb. The entire courtyard suddenly fell dead silent. The political marriage between the Gu and Song families was originally a very well-kept secret. Only those who mingled in the upper echelons of high society knew the exact details. The director was so stunned he dropped his script. Zhou Xing and Chen Shi's eyes widened, and they stammered in unison, there's such shocking news? On the live stream screen, a few comments from VIP accounts with expensive avatars, clearly belonging to insiders, popped up to verify. Song Xin is telling the truth. The news of eldest young Master Gu and Miss Song's engagement has been echoing in high society for ages. The two families are a perfect match. Holy crap, then what the hell is Xia Meng? A modern-day concubine? Or just a passing plaything with no status? Seeing that the situation could no longer be covered up, Xia Meng's face paled slightly from panic. But she was incredibly sharp. She immediately raised her head and began to tear up as she explained herself. It's true that there is such a thing, but that is merely a forced, cold, arranged family marriage. He once hugged me with tears in his eyes, pouring out his heart, saying he had absolutely no feelings for her whatsoever, that he was forced against his will to be a pawn for his family. I smirked, my eyes piercingly cold. How do you know he doesn't love her? Are you a worm in his stomach? And no matter what the excuse is, deliberately wedging yourself into someone else's relationship when they have a clear engagement, doesn't that make you a shameless homewrecker stealing someone's husband? Poked right in her reverse scale, Xia Meng immediately put on the resilient appearance of a romance novel heroine, stubbornly raising her head to resist the oppressive capitalist. She stroked her stomach and began spouting off a series of moral principles to steer public opinion. True love breaks all barriers. He gave his heart to me, that is true love. That Miss Song is, in the end, just a pitiful pawn of family interests. As for me, I represent women who dare to live authentically and risk everything to pursue their own happiness. I don't covet the glamorous title of a wealthy madam. I just want to protect this little life and our pure love. These shameless sophistries, draped in the radiant cloak of morality, surprisingly struck the psychological Achilles heel of a gullible segment of the audience. The live chat began to aggressively shift directions. But the target of their stones this time wasn't me. The spearheads were pointed straight at Gu Chen. Oh my god, hearing Sister Meng cry makes my heart ache. So Gu Chen is a scumbag who already has a fiancé but still goes out messing with flowers and knocks someone up. A coward who only knows how to cover up true love. Forcing a pregnant girl to suffer humiliation without a status. Boycott Gu Corporation. Boycott the scumbag Gu Chen. Crawl out here immediately and apologize to the public and to Xia Meng and her child. I crossed my arms, admiring the scrolling text viciously cursing Gu Chen on the screen, the corners of my mouth twitching slightly. My well-behaved husband was probably busy washing nightgowns at home right now, yet he was suddenly dragged down into the mud by a fake scumbag to bear the brunt of this fury. If Gu Chen found out about this scene, I feared he would drive an armored vehicle armed with a machine gun to flatten this entire show. As the live stream screen continued churning with thousands of furious comments cursing Gu Chen as a terrible scumbag, the director rubbed his sweaty forehead. Amidst the clamor of the courtyard, he cleared his throat to change the subject and salvage the atmosphere. Ahem, alright, let's not dig too deeply into private matters. It's Song Xin's turn. I lazily withdrew my gaze from Xia Meng's face, which was currently struggling to maintain a holy, sorrowful expression, and leisurely pulled my phone from my pocket. In stark contrast to her previous hesitant, theatrical display, I went straight to my contacts and decisively hit call on a number saved with a single word, Mom. The speakerphone was turned on, and the toot-toot dialing sound rang out clearly. Before the phone even rang for the second time, the person on the other end eagerly picked up. In contrast to the arrogant, untouchable demeanor usually seen in the media from a top-tier wealthy madam, the voice that came through carried a warm, enthusiastic laugh, even holding a hint of flattering eagerness. Hello? Is this my precious Xin? It's so late, why is my baby calling me while filming so hard? Are the boxed meals from the production crew too hard to swallow? Did that brat Ching call the chef to bring you bird's nest soup to nourish you? I smiled softly, my tone obedient as I replied, I had the soup, it was very delicious. But Mom, why did you suddenly post a picture of my husband scrubbing a nightgown on your Moments the other day? Now both my circle of friends and the trending charts have completely blown up. It's so annoying. A sentence slipped out as light as a feather, but the impact it unleashed was no different from a bolt of lightning striking from a clear sky. Crash. Qin Shi, who had been holding a glass of water, dropped it, shattering it into pieces on the tiled floor. Zhou Xing's eyes bugged out, her mouth hanging open wide enough to stuff an ostrich egg inside. Qin Mo, who always maintained a paralyzed ice-block face, now severely furrowed his brows, his shocked gaze sweeping straight toward me. Xia Meng jolted as if she had been electrocuted, the half-baked sorrowful smile on her lips instantly freezing like jelly. The live chat froze for about 10 seconds, dead in the water, before exploding at an unprecedented, terrifying speed in history. Wait. Do you guys have ears to hear clearly what Song Xin just said? Husband washing nightgown. MOM? Wasn't that hot search posted by Gu Chen's biological mother, the most powerful madam in the capital? What the hell is going on here? Song Xin is calling the noble madam mom? Oh my, don't mention it. The person on the other end sighed deeply, her tone instantly becoming as aggrieved as a gossiping neighbor. Xin, that time was purely an accident. That day, your biological mother and I met up for tea and got into a fight. Who told her to send me a picture of you personally going into the kitchen to stew soup for her, and then mock me, saying I gave birth to a useless son? Saying that as a chairman, he only knows how to ruin things and doesn't know how to serve and cherish his wife. You see, your mother and I have been fighting in the business world for 30 years without a clear winner, and suddenly she has an excuse to show off her good daughter. I was so mad that I secretly pulled out that photo of the brat Chin wearing a Hello Kitty apron washing your nightgown and threw it on moments to ruffle my feathers and clap back a bit. I swear to God I carefully said it so only the ladies in our club could see it. Who could have foreseen that among those sisters there would be a big mouth who secretly took a screenshot and leaked it to the paparazzi? Let me find out whose family stabbed me in the back. I will punish their entire clan. At this point, Xia Meng's complexion had shifted from pale to blue, red, purple, yellow, green, indigo, and violet in a spectacular transformation. I held back my laughter until I suffered internal injuries, leisurely continuing, so that was the root cause. But Mom, thanks to your accidental post, I just caught him keeping a mistress outside. What? Is that ungrateful son tired of breathing? Be good, Xin, don't get angry and get wrinkles, it will affect your beauty. I will immediately dispatch bodyguards to teach him a lesson and drag him right to you to apologize. And who is this vixen who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth, daring to pluck the tiger's whiskers and steal from my precious daughter-in-law? I gently covered my mouth, giving the woman across from me a sidelong glance. Calm down, Mom. She's standing right in front of me as we speak. She even loudly swore on the live stream that she's carrying the Gu family's flesh and blood, claiming it's some grand, true love. The other end went dead silent for exactly 3 seconds to digest the information before exploding. Pregnant? That little brat sticks to you like a starving leech every night. When he gets kicked out to the sofa, he cries and throws a tantrum. Where the hell would he find the time to go plant seeds outside? Bastard. Who has the guts to slander my son and throw dirty water on the Gu family's honor? Xin, drop your location to Mom right now, I'm coming to clean up this mess. Toot, toot. The call was hung up abruptly. My mother-in-law's working style had always been like roaring thunder and sweeping wind. I was sure she was furiously picking up the phone right now to investigate and scold her precious son. I leisurely put my phone back in my pocket and casually picked up my warm cup of water, taking a sip to wet my throat. Xia Meng was now trembling all over like a wet dog in winter, her red lips stammering but unable to make a sound. Zhou Xing, sitting next to me, timidly pulled on the corner of my shirt, whispering softly, though the microphone still picked up every single word, Sister Xin, are you really the genuine madam of the Gu family? Before I could even nod to seal the deal, Xia Meng, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, lost her elegant facade. She pointed straight at my face, her finger trembling violently as she tried to salvage her last pathetic shred of dignity. Song Xin, stop playing these cheap tricks. Don't think that just because you hired some old auntie to dub for you, you can lead everyone by the nose. You capitalists are all a bunch of despicable liars, but the netizens aren't blind. With the facts that had just been exposed, the live chat was now piecing everything together at breakneck speed. Wait. Song Xin is the heiress of the Song family? Holy crap, the logic checks out perfectly. So this is a scene of a thick-skinned mistress faking her identity to confront the genuine, original wife? But Xia Meng really is pregnant. There's a pregnancy ultrasound paper. Could Gu Chen be secretly keeping a second wife so cleverly that his own wife doesn't even know? Is the commenter above brain damaged? Didn't you hear the madam just cursing? The eldest young master clings to his wife like taffy. Where would he get the time to spread his seed outside? There's definitely a hidden twist here. The show's director, a shrewd old fox highly sensitive to the scent of money and ratings, immediately pounced on this once-in-a-thousand-years opportunity. He rubbed his hands together, his eyes shining brightly as he stepped into the center of the courtyard. How about this? To maintain harmony for both sides and to completely resolve the audience's doubts, why don't you two try calling CEO Gu directly to come here and confront the truth face to face? I tilted my head slightly, my cold gaze sweeping over Xiaomeng's face, which was now so pale it looked drained of blood. I leisurely replied, you claimed to be the true love that broke all barriers, didn't you? Invite him over. Let's see if he can pass this test. Xiaomeng bit her lip so hard it almost bled, frantically dialing the number. Once. Twice. 3 times. The toot-toot ringing sound dragged on in despair. The powerful man who served as her backing had suddenly vanished without a trace, completely unreachable. Right as Xiaomeng's humiliation was climbing to its absolute peak, the screeching sound of brakes pierced through the night from outside the gate. It wasn't just one car, but a long, imposing convoy of sleek, jet-black Rolls-Royces parking in a straight line right in front of the homestay. The doors of the center car flew open, and a tall figure stormed in like a hurricane. Wifey. The man, dressed in an expensive, hand-tailored suit, but with his shirt collar yanked messily awry, lunged forward like a giant, overgrown golden retriever. He decisively dropped to one knee beside my lounge chair, hugged my arm tightly to act out his grievances, and howled like an old cow that just lost its food ration. Why did you call Mom and not me? Am I no longer your most important baby? Wah! Mom just called and scolded me bloody. Wifey, you have to stand up for my innocence. The live stream audience completely petrified. Their neurons snapped. Mother of God, is this the legendary, ice-cold CEO Gu? Where did the aura of the arrogant, cold, ruthless big boss in the business world evaporate to? But look closely at the supercars outside. The black-clad bodyguards plus Gu Corporation's signature 8888 license plate can't be wrong. 100% genuine husband. I helplessly rubbed my forehead, lightly patting the shoulder of the man who was desperately rubbing his head against my waist, acting spoiled. I sighed softly, behave yourself, Gu Chen. There are cameras and outsiders here. The 3 words there are outsiders acted like a button activating his second personality. Gu Chen instantly shut off his whining and crying. He stood up perfectly straight, raising a hand to lightly brush an invisible wrinkle from his suit jacket. His side profile instantly turned as sharp and cold as a razor blade. The gloomy, oppressive aura of the person holding power over the Gu Corporation immediately enveloped the entire courtyard, making everyone tremble. He whipped his head around, his eyes filled with extreme disgust as he swept his gaze over Xiaomeng. You're that extra actress, right? Where did you get the bear's gall and leopard's guts to dare spread nonsense rumors about me, huh? I swear to God I don't even fucking know if your face is round or square. I gently tugged his sleeve, reminding him softly, her name is Xiaomeng. Gu Chen raised an eyebrow, his face not showing a single trace of remorse for misremembering her name. Ah, right, my mistake. Anyway, Miss Xia something, who has the time to care what your name is? Xiaomeng was stunned. She took a step back, staring in sheer panic at the strange man in front of her. She shook her head frantically, screaming hysterically until her voice cracked. No, impossible. You are not Gu Chen. Saying that, as if grasping at the final, fragile straw of salvation, Xiaomeng frantically opened her phone and shoved a photo of herself with her CEO at the camera lens. This is the real Gu Chen. He used to take me to exclusive yacht parties, and everyone in the circle had to bow down and call him young Master Gu. Gu Chen gave the photo a sidelong glance, his eyebrows knitting tightly into a deep trench. The man in the photo was piled with designer brands, deliberately imitating Gu Chen's hairstyle and demeanor to a 70 or 80% likeness. But looking closely, his aura and facial features were 10,000 miles more vulgar and pathetic. Gu Chen let out a cold, sarcastic laugh. Gu Ming? You took that trashy cousin from my family's branch line, who only knows how to eat and destroy things, and tried to pass him off as me? I crossed my arms and leaned back in my chair, admiring how Xia Meng's face turned whiter and whiter. Xia Meng, I warned you to be careful playing the wealthy madam role too deeply, or you wouldn't have a place to cry when you woke up from your dream. This sentence was like a 1,000-pound sledgehammer smashing Xia Meng's last dying breath of hope into pieces. She was so scared he shrank back like a turtle, and Best Actor Qin Mo, who was usually indifferent, now turned pale, frantically signaling his assistant to urgently delete all his previous Weibo posts defending Xia Meng. The courtyard was as silent as a grave, with only the sound of the wind echoing through. The live stream chat froze for exactly 2 seconds before exploding at a speed unprecedented in history. Gu Ming? Who the hell is Gu Ming? I need 500 brothers to enlighten me. I'm an editor at a financial magazine here. Gu Ming is a nephew from the Gu family's branch line, famous for being a useless second-generation rich kid who only knows how to play around and waste money. So he borrowed his cousin's tiger prestige to trick her into bed. Holy crap, a wealthy family eating cheap street food makes perfect sense now. Grade A counterfeit crown prince. Xia Meng crowed so loudly thinking she caught the real prince, who knew she stepped on a landmine in the street. Xia Meng's complexion at this moment could no longer be described with the word ugly. Her eyes were wide open, glued to the photo on her phone screen, her mouth mumbling like a sleepwalker. Impossible, he gave me a black card, he promised to buy me a super villa in the most expensive Thompson Riviera district to have the baby. Black card? Thompson Riviera? Gu Chen smirked. The smile carried 3 parts sarcasm and 7 parts ruthless coldness. He turned to Assistant Chen, who was standing respectfully behind him. When did I revoke that brat's supplementary card? Sir, 3 months ago, after young Master Ming smeared mud on your face at the charity banquet, Assistant Chen reported respectfully, his voice ringing clearly into the microphone broadcasting to the entire nation. The current situation of his bank account is probably less than 5,000 renminbi, just enough to slurp instant noodles. Hearing the pathetic sum of 5,000 renminbi, Xia Meng's legs went soft. She completely collapsed, falling to her knees on the cold ground. Seeing that the situation was about to cross the red line of control and easily get entangled in legal cases, the show's director frantically waved his hands, signaling the tech team to pull the plug and urgently cut off the live stream. Instantly, the screen went pitch black. But its aftershocks had already created a tsunami, devastatingly sweeping across all online media platforms throughout the entire night. 3 days later, in the luxurious CEO's office on the top floor of the Starlight Entertainment empire, I curled up comfortably on the plush sofa, sipping a steaming cup of English black tea. Opposite me, Manager Wang was currently cowering and trembling like a quail. Cold sweat poured down her forehead, and her hands were clasped together anxiously. Madam, what happened the other day was because I had eyes but couldn't recognize Mount Tai. Please, madam, be magnanimous and raise your hand high but strike lightly. Spare me. Manager Wang stammered, not even daring to raise her head to look me in the eye. I set the teacup down on the table with a clink. Manager Wang, why are you standing so stiffly? I don't eat people. Weren't you aggressively demanding an 8-figure breach of contract penalty from me just a few days ago? Where is the invoice? I wouldn't dare, I wouldn't dare. Manager Wang shook her head frantically like a pinwheel. It's Xia Meng who breached the contract. She seriously smeared Starlight's pristine reputation. This afternoon, our lawyers, along with the Gu Corporation's formidable legal team, will officially sue her for defamation and fraud. I raised an eyebrow, not very surprised by this tragic ending. Given Gu Chen's vengeful nature and his ability to hold a grudge forever, The fact that Xia Meng was only comprehensively blacklisted and brought to court was already him being incredibly merciful. As for that fake cousin Gu Ming, rumor had it that he was grabbed by the neck by bodyguards that very night, dragged back to the Gu family's ancestral home, had one of his legs broken by his grandfather, and was thrown straight abroad to fend for himself with all his financial support completely cut off. Right at that moment, the intricately carved ironwood door was pushed open. Gu Qin, wearing a black dress shirt with the top 2 buttons undone, radiating a lazy, seductive charm, and clumsily carrying a massive bouquet of 999 red roses so huge it practically covered half his body, walked in gleefully. The moment his wife entered his line of sight, the cold, decisive big boss of the business world instantly reverted to his puppy dog form. He casually tossed the stack of documents tucked under his arm at Assistant Chen and hurried over to the sofa. "Baby." Gu Qin placed the giant bouquet on my lap, then took the opportunity to sit right down on the sheepskin rug at the foot of the sofa, resting his head on my thighs and rubbing against me. "Now the whole world knows clearly that you, Song Xin, are my, Gu Chen's, beloved wife. You can't make me hide in the dark as your secret lover and suffer injustice anymore." Manager Wang, standing in the corner of the room, was extremely tactful at this moment. She took small steps backwards, tiptoeing like a cat caught stealing food, slipped out of the room, and slammed the door shut behind her. The private space now belonged only to the 2 of us. Gu Qin reached out, wrapped his arms around my waist, and effortlessly lifted me up to sit squarely on his lap. His gaze at this moment was no longer playful, but unusually deep and serious. Xin, his warm, deep voice whispered in my ear, carrying a hint of bewitching attachment. "Once you're tired of playing around in this scandal-ridden showbiz, come home and let me provide for you, okay? If you're passionate about acting, I'll throw money and buy out an entire TV station so you can freely roam as its queen. How about it?" I wrapped my arms around his neck, looking straight into those deep, dark eyes. The corners of my lips curled into the brightest, most genuine smile I had ever shown. "All right, I'll go home, CEO Gu." Exactly 1 week later, the verified official Weibo accounts of both Starlight Entertainment and the Gu Corporation simultaneously released our pre-wedding photos. No gongs, no drums, and absolutely no money spent buying hot searches. Yet, Weibo's servers automatically crashed for 5 minutes due to the massive overload of traffic. The photoshoot took place at an ancient, romantic castle in Prague. In the photos, Gu Qin wore a minimalist white shirt, hugging my waist tightly from behind, his eyes filled with lingering doting affection buried in the crook of my neck. The noble aura of a powerful family and the genuine sweetness completely smashed all the anti-fans' suspicions of a bland, forced political marriage. But what really set social media on fire was the hilariously cold comedic interaction between our 2 mothers. My mother-in-law used her official account to share the post with the caption, "I've raised a pig for so many years. Finally, my family's pig knows how to go root out a crystal cabbage that is both pretty and smart. At Madam Song, thank you, my in-law, for giving birth so well." Less than 3 minutes later, my biological mother immediately shared her post, not lacking any combativeness. My family's cabbage was nurtured for years, held like a precious egg, caught like a falling flower. Now it's unfortunately been gnawed away by your family's pig. If my daughter sheds even a single tear of grievance, I will take my meat cleaver straight to your house and chop your family's pig into minced meat patties. At Madame Gu. The audience rolled on the floor laughing at this public roasting, reeking of the enemies on a narrow road dynamic between 2 powerful women of high society. Just as the atmosphere was overflowing with envy and admiration, a massive, supersized drama suddenly crashed down. After disappearing for 3 days, Xia Meng, who everyone assumed had completely collapsed and vanished from the industry, suddenly opened a live stream. Xia Meng sat prominently on the screen, not bearing the miserable, haggard appearance of someone who had just been blacklisted. On the contrary, she wore a delicately tailored white silk shirt, her hair tied in a low bun with a few loose strands falling softly, fully preserving a fragile beauty that easily evoked compassion. The moment she spoke, her eyes were red, as if stubbornly refusing to let her tears fall. Hello everyone. I chose to stay silent these past few days not because I admitted I was wrong, but because my voice was being violently suffocated by a massive, dictatorial capitalist power. She took a deep breath, holding up a pregnancy test report with a bright red seal right to the camera. The baby is real. The fact that my feelings were blatantly deceived is also real. Gu Ming used the title of the Gu family's crown prince to approach me, scamming both my love and my money. When the needle poked out of the bag, the Gu family, wanting to whitewash their family's honor and protect their billion-dollar political marriage, ruthlessly dragged me out to be a meat shield. They froze all my resources, forced my management company to drive me into a corner to demand compensation, and even threatened the innocent little life forming in my womb. The comment section started jumping numbers like crazy. The blind rage of the herd is always easily incited by the weak fighting against dictatorial capitalism narrative. Oh my God, capitalism is pushing people too far. Ruthless and inhumane. In the end, she's just a victim who was tricked for her love. Why drive her to her death? Being pregnant is hard enough. The Gu family is too cold-blooded. Covering up for their trashy cousin and forcing a pregnant girl into a corner, wealthy garbage. Boycott Gu Corporation. Feel so bad for Sister Meng, please stay strong for your child. Xia Meng looked straight into the lens, her red eyes fully transforming her into the role of an awakened strong woman stepping out of a tragedy. But I will not fall. I may have lost my glorious acting career, but I cannot lose the dignity of a mother. From the very depths of deception and the ruthless trampling of capitalism, I have drawn invaluable lessons using my own blood and tears. I know there are countless girls out there whose hearts are being shredded by terrible men, trampled by powerful forces. Today, I am officially launching an online course, The Elegant Woman Masters Her Life. I will teach you how to heal your own wounds, how to see through the true faces of wealthy men, and most importantly, how to be financially independent so you never have to bow down to anyone. She smiled softly, a smile that was 3 parts forgiving and 7 parts resilient. The registration link for the course is pinned in the bottom left corner of the screen. We are currently running a 50% discount for the first 1,000 students who register. Remember, women leaning on mountains, mountains fall, clinging to people, people leave. Only standing independently on your own 2 feet is the most solid foundation. The drama was pushed to its absolute peak. A flawless feminist whitewashing script hit the exact spot of the netizens' sympathetic psychology. In less than 10 minutes, all 1,000 slots of the course, priced at an exorbitant 1,999 renminbi each, were swept clean like a hurricane. Netizens frantically emptied their wallets, shared the live stream, and pushed the keyword Xia Meng stays strong and boycott Gu Corp to sit prominently at the top of the hot search list. Xia Meng even slyly dropped one final explosive spark, I don't resent Miss Song. In the end, she is just a pitiful woman who has to grit her teeth and swallow her bitterness to accept a political marriage, marrying a cold, heartless man just to make her family look good. I only pray that she keeps a little kindness in her heart and stops aiding the enemy and assisting evil. In our luxurious penthouse, Gu Chen had just finished showering. Wearing a loose bathrobe, he dried his wet hair while glancing over at Xia Meng's live stream screen, letting out a sarcastic laugh. A professional 3-camera setup, large studio cooling systems, and a course-selling website integrated with a payment gateway that doesn't crash under thousands of users. Where did a pawn drowning in tens of millions of debt find the capital to set all this up so quickly and smoothly? I raised an eyebrow and looked at him. You caught that quickly? Gu Chen snapped my laptop shut with a clack. The corner of his mouth curled into the sharp, cold smile of a wild beast stalking its prey. Baby, did you forget what your husband does for a living? After saying that, he tossed the towel aside and dialed Assistant Chen. Found it yet? On the other end, Assistant Chen reported clearly, CEO Gu, exactly as you predicted. The server IP of the course-selling website and the cash flow from the payment gateway are being siphoned and funneled directly to an overseas shell company. Tracing the network footprint, this company is registered under the cousin of Zhao Kai, chairman of Huayu Media Group. I narrowed my eyes, piecing the entire chessboard together. It turned out that from the moment Xia Meng started shedding tears and setting traps on the live stream, Gu Qin was already standing on the high tower, seeing completely through all her dirty schemes. Zhao Kai of Huayu had always been his irreconcilable arch-nemesis, truly a cunning vulture. Seeing the pawn Xia Meng discarded by Gu Ming, he immediately picked her up to recycle, pulling the strings to make her act out this feminist play to drain the public's sympathy and throw dirty water on the Gu Corporation. Gu Qin nonchalantly tossed his phone aside, wrapped his arms around my waist, pulled me securely into his embrace, and rested his chin on my shoulder. Zhao Kai is delusional, thinking he can use a sacrificial pawn to take a sneak bite out of the Gu Corporation. Little does he know, I deliberately held my troops back, just waiting for him to surface so I could pull the net and catch the whole school of fish. Let her herd the sheep and sell her courses. The charge of massive-scale fraud and misappropriation of property with this exorbitant amount of money, combined with Huayu's ghost accounting books for tax evasion that I hold in my hand, is enough for both Zhao Kai and that woman to rot in jail and eat prison food for the rest of their lives. Hearing his calculating tone, digging a grave to bury people without even blinking an eye, I couldn't help but reach out and pinch his cheek. You truly strike with a ruthless, poisonous hand, CEO Gu. Gu Qin took the opportunity to lightly bite my hand. Daring to pull strings and manipulate people to curse at my wife online? If I don't skin him and pull out his tendons, how could I be worthy of being the indomitable man who has your back? Truly the ruthless working style of the Gu family's leader, leaving no way out. He had no time to engage in lengthy internet flame wars. That very night, while Xia Meng and Zhao Kai were still intoxicatedly counting money in their illusion of success, the Gu Corporation's legal department quietly submitted all the evidence of fraudulent cash flows, tax evasion records, and Huayu's stock manipulation to the Major Economic Crimes Investigation Agency. Xia Meng's live stream concluded at dawn. The keyword Xia Meng stays strong was still hanging arrogantly at the top of the trending charts. The online courses continued to sell out. The image of the great, resilient single mother fighting against capitalism was pushed to cloud 9. But at exactly 8 a.m. the next day, one of the most notorious paparazzi accounts suddenly dumped a stash of piping hot, HD photos. The title pinned just one razor-sharp sentence, the naked truth about Xia Meng's sacred maternal love after failing to hook the genuine crown prince. The first photo, Xia Meng, draped in an oversized baggy coat and wearing a baseball cap that covered her completely, was being stealthily supported by her assistant into the VIP entrance of an expensive private hospital. The second photo, a high-definition, zoomed-in shot of her medical registration form at the obstetrics and gynecology department. The purpose, termination of pregnancy procedure. The final photo was even more mind-blowingly shocking, Xia Meng dragging her feet out of the operation room, her face pale and haggard. Her assistant beside her tightly hugged a large bag of antibiotics and nutritional supplements. The entire realm of Weibo exploded like an atomic bomb had been dropped. Wait. Didn't she just cry and swear yesterday that she would use her life to protect the baby? Just last night she was live streaming and shedding tears over sacred maternal love. Turns out she aborted the pregnancy ages ago. Her stomach is flat and she dares to show her face online to sell a miserable act and scam people? Damn it, I just transferred 1,999 renminbi to buy her course. You scammers, spit my money back out. Right when public opinion was frantically flailing and cursing, before they could even recover their senses, another secretly recorded audio file was thrown out. Xia Meng's voice rang out shrill, piercing, and incredibly clear inside the closed clinic room. What's the point of keeping this cursed pregnancy? The Gu family refuses to acknowledge it, and Gu Ming's cards have been frozen clean of money. Giving birth to this child will only block my path to making money. Doctor, please handle this quickly and cleanly for me. In a few days, I still have an important live stream schedule to sell courses and close deals. 3 cold-blooded sentences directly crushed her entire image of a great, resilient mother into pieces. The hot search turned deep crimson in the blink of an eye, scamming mother course. In the penthouse, I held my phone, inhaling the drama. I stayed silent for a few seconds before turning to look at Guchin, who was busy peeling fruit. Did you send people to pull off this pile of photos? He was meticulously carving cantaloupe into heart shapes. Hearing this, he just looked up, his face so innocent he deserved a beating. Wifey, I am so wronged. I was busy tracing their cash flows. Sending the paparazzi to tail her to the private hospital was a masterpiece done by my mother. Guchin obediently pushed the plate of finished heart-shaped cantaloupe in front of me and giggled. Baby, it looks like it's not even my turn to land the finishing blow in this case. She carried a hammer and smashed her own miserable stage to pieces. That afternoon, the shocking news that Xia Meng had been handcuffed and summoned for investigation by the economic police climbed to the #1 spot in searches. Thousands of scammed students who bought the course simultaneously filed lawsuits demanding compensation for damages. Her illusion of stepping into a wealthy family officially turned to dust, replaced by a long-term prison sentence. At the same time, Zhao Kai's Huayu Media Group completely crumbled into pieces, crushed under the iron hand of the Gu Corporation. The online world outside was noisy and stormy, but our penthouse was unusually peaceful and warm. Guchin lazily hugged my waist tightly from behind, rubbing his chin into the crook of my neck, his deep voice carrying an enchantingly seductive smile. Baby, the trash has been swept perfectly clean, and mother-in-law has vented all her anger. Now, let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau and register our marriage. I truly don't want to be the humiliated man in the dark waiting for you to bestow a title on me anymore. Looking at the flattering, puppy-like appearance of the most powerful big boss in the capital, I chuckled and gently ruffled his hair. All right. But remember clearly, even after we get married, the 3 obediences and 4 virtues rules will not change a single bit. Guchin jerked his head up, his peach blossom eyes shining as brightly as the stars. He loudly snapped his heels together and threw a military salute. Yes, beloved wifey. Washing your nightgowns is the greatest honor of this Guchen's life. The end.